Well, I just finished up my 37th Wednesday of 20 miles or more. I started this about 2 years ago. I drive about an hour from work up to Akron, Ohio to run with a run club. And I was already getting home late after this run club because I drive about 45 minutes back home. And at first I started off, I'm going to do a half marathon every time I'm up there. And then, I progressed, got better, and I'm like, you know what? Let's do something crazy. Let's start calling it 20 Mile Wednesdays. It was kind of a joke at first, but then it just became a thing. And it wasn't every Wednesday, but, a lot of the time I would just try to hit 20 miles. And now it's like something I try to do every week, right? It's hard. And I've done 20 milers after work other times, but something about this, just because it's so late, it's 10:18 at night right now. And I'm probably gonna get home around 10:30, get all my stuff ready for tomorrow, get to bed by like 11:30, and then wake up at 5 for work. And I know it doesn't sound extreme, but it is tiresome. And I love it because I joke, but Wednesdays in my mind are really for growing. It makes me grow. I found running back in 2018. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I moved in with my cousin, and just on a whim, we're like, hey, you want to go on a run? And I thought that was pretty cool. We went 4 miles. I was beat up. I was just tired. But it was fun. And I never felt that way before, but with exercise. As a kid, I wanted to be into exercise. I wanted to be a strong boy. I thought it was cool when kids were strong, when men were strong. But I never could find the enjoyment in it. Well, when we started running together, a big part of my enjoyment was I got to do it with somebody else. And I would be wasted by the end, and I just felt like I accomplished something. So then, fast forward 7 years from then, and I'm running 20 miles on a Wednesday. Something I would have never fathomed before, even running 20 miles in general. It's exciting, and even though I enjoy it a lot, I want to improve. And I think if there's like two extremes, you could do this completely casually, which is fine. People run casually. You don't have to be hardcore about it. Or the other extreme, so hardcore where when I've seen people in this position, there doesn't seem to be a lot of enjoyment. I find myself somewhat in the middle in a weird way. I want to reach for the stars. I love the idea of no limits, but I don't want to lose the spirit of having fun. And I think the people that do lose that spirit, it's a quick burnout. Because why would you do something this hard and that repetitive if you didn't enjoy it? And maybe I'm just speaking out of context. Maybe a lot of people do, and it just from the outside looks like they're grinding. But when you think of somebody that's the one spectrum, completely goalless, just does it recreationally, or the other side, David Goggins, grind, hate yourself, that kind of stuff doesn't motivate me. It just doesn't. I'll listen to it to get pumped up, and I've listened to the books. I love it, but it's not what pushes me out the door. What pushes me out the door is I'm exploring the limits of my mind and body and getting to see the world. And the phrase I always say is getting to see the world in the best means possible, urban and rural, on foot. And being on foot is awesome. You do experience a lot that you miss while driving. But doing so, I want to explore more and more. And it takes days like these that make you very uncomfortable to be able to perform better. I've ran a few 100-milers. I'm very proud of that. I like to race. But in the grand scheme of things, I would love to continue to use my performance abilities to be able to do longer, more amazing things. You know, there's been things always in my mind, like I'd love to cross the United States. I'd love to do all the major trails. I'd love to go to other countries and see their cultures through running. And I see bigger running influencers, or not just an influencer, but like bigger running figureheads doing this. And that's the dream one day. You know, I don't think that working the 9 to 5 is meant for everyone. And I know some people say that, but when you break free of the mold and go so far into a passion, I think you can get out of that. And that's the goal one day, is that I can actually explore the world in the way I like to, and keep myself financially stable. I'm kind of rambling on. I love talking about running. The other cool part about it is the body is like it's like a game. It's like a big puzzle. How can I fix this? How can I make this better? What can I eat? How do I drink? How do I think? How do I train? Everything comes together is a puzzle. But this puzzle isn't just like any other puzzle. This one doesn't have a shape that fits everyone. And in fact, it keeps changing as we grow, as we grow older. And maybe there is a perfect system out there. I don't know. It's really hard to tell. You see schools of thought that are completely opposite of each other. And that's what's pretty cool. And in fact, you see these schools of thought that are opposite from each other, and you see super high performing athletes on both ends. So it's like there's no really true evidence that one works better than another. What I think is the constant is the mind. And when you push your mind to believe that it can do something, all the other stuff, your body kind of figures it out. You know, it's not like you can just eat trash and not train, but your mind can take you pretty far. And the top performing athletes, I feel like, do have a deep passion for the sport, and they stay in it for a long time. And that's pretty cool. You know, I experience pains. You know, I have sorenesses and some long-term pain that I need to address. And I'm not ashamed to say that. You know, I push a lot, and it's exciting. I know I do more than most people say I should. But here's the other things I need to do is I need to go to the gym. I need to strength train. I need to work on the problem areas that I have pains in. I'm in the belief of work on it if you have pain in it, if you feel like there's an imbalance, if you see there's an imbalance, rather. I mean, that's a lot of times it's pretty apparent, and especially if you have somebody video you while you're running, or if you feel pain on one side when you're running a race or you're doing some long event. You know what your imbalances are. Now, when those imbalances aren't there, I don't think you need to spend as much time on them. You know, I think the world always is saying, you need to cross-train, If you're not having issues, you don't necessarily need to do that. There are top-performing athletes that don't cross-train, and I'll stand by that. I don't think that's a one-size-fits-all. So, just a fun little conversation. It's 10:28 now. It's been a nice 10 minutes, and I'm just making my way home. I thought it'd be fun to debrief how my Wednesday went. So what I did was I got to the run. I did some Big Bend repeats, which is a big hill, and with my buddy Brian. We got 4 miles in and headed back to the group run. We did 6 miles with them, and then I did 3 miles up to another friend's house, and we ran another 7, and then I ran 3 back to my car, so 23 total. I got almost 2,000 feet of elevation, and I'm wrecked. My body hurts. It was a rough Wednesday, but I earned it. Oh, I'm so tired. I love it. I love being tired because I was in control. I'm the one that made me tired, not some unnatural reason that inevitably we're all going to face one day. So do something that makes you happy and makes you grow. Don't just keep living the same life because you think you're stuck. You can do anything you want. Anything you want. I know that sounds crazy. I mean, and it goes as far as like, you could do anything you want even if it's illegal. Not telling you to do something illegal, but I think we get stuck in this system where we feel that society tells us what to do, and that's false. You can break out of that. You could quit your job tomorrow. Not saying you should, but you can. You could just go flip everybody off in your company. Don't do that. But just know you have the free will to do so. So that should be reassuring. I know that's hard because there's a lot of things. Maybe a family depends on you. Maybe you're handicapped, and that's a shame. But that doesn't mean that you're handicapped from growing. You know, that's just you're incapable of doing one specific thing. If there's a will, there's a way, and I believe that. If there is a will, there's a way, and you will figure it out. If you want something bad enough, you're gonna figure it out. I forget the motivational speaker, which somebody could probably tell me, but in their speech, they talked about they brought somebody out to the water, and they put their head under the water, and they pulled them back up, and they're gasping for air, and you put them back down under the water, and they're gasping for air, and the whole idea was you want to go, if there's something you want enough, like how much you want to breathe when you're pulling your head out of that water, you'll do it. You'll do anything to get your head back out of that water and take another breath, because that is life and death for you. You'll punch the person that's pulling your head down. You will do literally anything. And if you try to apply that mindset to life, to give your 100% into something, if you truly want it, you'll find out how. You'll find out how, especially when it's something like you need to breathe, you don't want to drown. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm probably paraphrasing it pretty poorly. When I listened to it, it actually did hit pretty hard. It wasn't like I said, David Goggins motivation. It was more of, wow, that truly is full control into a goal. Like the goal of wanting to breathe, the goal of I want to do X, Y, and Z. You're gonna figure it out, I promise. So I'm almost home. Thanks for listening to my rambling. Love you guys. Happy running.